is, right?
Oh, God, do I. What a
Son,
nightmare
you-
that would be.
Hey, Sherry. Sherry. You said you didn't know who Sanjay was. Sanjay is the guy that HOA director for Robinson River.
He's the one that almost,
He the one that didn't want to pay.
this is when I basically had to tell him, explain to him that government may not know how to do much, but we know how to get your money. And if you don't pay it, we're gonna take it.
HOA president for Robinson River.
Where? I know who that is. And you can explain to all your
The one
neighbors
that
why
didn't
they're.
want to pay for it. When we did the work, and yeah, you don't want to pay. But anyway, he sent me a voice. I know that. That's why my reply was very vague.
Starting in 2 minutes.
You know?
I know who he is.
I know where he is too.
Huh?
My back on Saturday, no big deal.
Did it save your money?
Worse. Monday, horrible. Today I couldn't even get out of bed. I was in the hospital for 4 hours. Shoot my, yeah, I wasn't here this morning. I was in the hospital. They were shooting my back up with pain filler or whatever they do. Feel great right now.
Oh, yeah. Yep. He's good. Good guy. Yep. Thanks a lot.
We're starting up in 1 minute.
We got a full house. We got a full house today, though. And a full agenda.
We got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff. Vince, are we bringing your thing forward?
I can't leave here for a week. Come back and agenda packed.
Okay. All right. I didn't notice they changed that out. I worked with him years, dozens of years ago. It's environmental work.
Probably won't go to the funeral.
Demo. Okay, we're going to be starting up. This meeting is called to order at 6 o'clock. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you. We are being broadcast live over Van Buren Township Channel 12 and on YouTube. Clerk Wright, would you please take the roll?
Yes, trustee Kelly. Here. Trustee Boyden. Trustee Martin.
Here.
Trustee Frazier.
Here.
The clerk is present. Treasurer Bud.
Here.
Supervisor.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Today's agenda consists of our consent agenda, which is our meeting minutes, prepaid list, our basic bills like electric and heat. But we're also going to be making an approval for an appointment of Stacy English and Mark Woodson to our Recreation Committee. And we thank them for their service by doing that, but it's a unanimous thing by the board, so we're not going to go through a big deal about it. We're also having approval of the appointment of Gina Durazio to the LDFA, and we have an approval of the redesignation of Charles LaRoque. He's going from the alternate BZA member to become a regular BZA member. New business today includes discussion on the community center, our community center's member and guest policy handbook, discussion on the community center's employee manual, discussion on a resolution regarding an updated community center fee schedule, discussion on a resolution for the DNR passport grant, Van Buren Parks Picnic Table Program, we got another grant. Discussion on the selection of VinCon for a demolition project at Van Buren Park. And discussion on the personal service agreement for William Minor. He'll be taking on the position of Water and Sewer Superintendent with the board's approval. We'll further have discussion on an agreement with Michigan State Housing Development Authority. We have got a grant for an award for doing a housing readiness incentive grant. We also have discussion on the donation of a road right-of-way we're giving to Wayne County to make the Denton Bridge project happen. And we're having a discussion on the preliminary plan and special land use request for revision to the Cobblestone Creek PRD, public right, how they're gonna build out. So that's the executive summary. We're now on to adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
Through the chair.
Treasurer Bud?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Support.
Trustee Frazier? Is there any discussion on the adoption of the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Agenda is adopted. Next item is the consent agenda. Who would like to make the motion and read off the consent? Treasurer Wright.
Treasurer Wright.
Treasurer Wright, excuse me, Clerk Wright.
All right. I take that. I'd like to make the motion to approve this consent agenda. Consists of the board minute meetings of March 6, 2024, prepaid list of March 7, 2024, prepaid list of March 14, 2024, voucher list of March 19, 2024, approval of the appointment of Stacy English and Mark Wilson to the Recreation Committee with a term to expire February 1st, 2025. And also I'd like them to be acknowledged because I see both of them are here. Approval of the appointment of Gina Durazio to the LDFA and for a term to expire August 1st, 2024. Approval of the designation of Charles Larocque, is that right? Larocque. Appointment to BZA form alternate to standard at-large member with the term to expire December 1st, 2024.
I support with the correction of Gina Durazio's approval term to expire August 1st, 2025, and the board meeting minutes of March the 5th of 2024.
So those are corrections?
No, he just read off the wrong
That
dates.
read it wrong?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Hey, that's what you get when you're getting going for.
All right, so we have a motion by Clerk Wright, supported by Trustee Boynton. Is there any other discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This motion passes. I want to, is Mark Woodson here? I know Stacy's here. Stacy English, could you come up? And Mark, could you come up? Let us say thank you for joining us. And we just about the only time we get to say thank you. Come on up here. Shake hands.
Thank you. You're beautiful. Thank you.
Just call. All right. Mark, you need anything, you call, all right? Okay. Okay.
Thanks for coming on.
Okay.
All right.
It's nice because our boards are actually filling up again, so that's really nice. So we've got some volunteers coming in, so it's good. Longstanding residents. Stacy, I think we've got her down for 3 generations. You don't need to stick around because it could be a long, dull day. All right. All right, public hearings. We have no public hearings today. Correspondence, announcements, and presentations. Is there anybody that wants to make a correspondence, announcement, or presentation?
I will.
Good.
This is from the South Huron Valley Utility Authority, which we are a part of, along with Brownstown Township, Huron Township, Flat Rock, Gibraltar, South Rockwood, and Woodhaven. This is a grant for $959,752 for improvements to the South Huron Valley wastewater treatment plant, which means they are going to put in new pump stations. They'll be able to put in a gate. They're going to be able to do some interior equipment, including new AV computers, wastewater, and maintenance tools. Then they're going to replace all of the HVA vacuum equipment so that it will prevent corrosion and protect personal safety. So we get a part of that because we are part of this, and so that's a big thing for us. That would hurt our budget if we all had to pay. So it's very good.
All right, great. Clerk Wright?
Sadly, I have to announce the passing of Carl McClanahan, Public Safety Director here from 2000, what years was it? 12? I don't have the exact dates of the years, but we all know who he is, and we're sad announcement to have to announce that. I do have some details here um, that I just received. Viewing will be March 28, 2024, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Jeter Funeral Home, 8436 West Chicago Avenue. And the funeral will be at New Hope Church, 33640 Michigan Avenue, Wayne, Michigan, 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. It's a family hour, with the funeral starting at 11 a.m. sharp. Intimate, cemetery and intimate directly after Chapel of Memorial Gardens, 48300 Willow Road, Sumter Township, Michigan. And intimate would be on Johnny on the Lake directly after the interment.
Thank you.
Do we have a,
Oh, sorry.
I guess, could we have a moment of silence? Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Boynton.
I don't know if this is actually the correct time to do this, but I'm going to say it anyway. As far as on the agenda, we have the new member and guest policy handbook for the Van Buren Township Community Center, the employee manual, and the fee schedule. Just to give accolades to the authors of such. I had a time to read them, read them pretty well, especially the guest policy handbook and employee manual, and whomever was involved in the writing of those. In my past life, I've spent many a day writing these things for various organizations. Excellent job. That's all I have to say. Excellent job. I'm going to go over them again, but that is top-notch work. We truly have an extremely talented group of directors and supervisors and managers and frontline employees here at the township. It's an excellent job. Excellent job.
Thank you. Any other? I I don't know if I should do this just because we had Carl's means a lot to this community. He really did, and he really had a pulse of what was going on. And his wife Brenda was. They made a real power couple. They're sorely going to be missed. They have been missed, as they had to leave they left the community to go to Florida. But we will certainly send a contingent from Van Buren Township to the funeral. All right, moving on, we're down to public comment. Today, is there anybody from the public that wishes to make comment on anything that's going to be happening today? Anybody from the public that wishes to make comment? Okay, come on up. Yes, please, yeah, otherwise they can't hear you online or on TV.
My name's Wayne Cherry. I'm the neighborhood coordinator for Whole Road Neighborhood Watch. I want to comment on agenda number 9 on consider the preliminary land special land grant for Cobblestone Creek Planned Community. My issue with that is we just went through a drain board meeting this month, and their retention ponds can't hold the water now, and they're going to add more, and then those retention ponds are going to flood over into our drain, the back of our property, and they're going to have to be dug out. It's going to cost millions of dollars. They can't handle the water that they have now, so I would oppose adding more houses until those retention ponds are fixed.
Okay, I guess we'll talk about that when we get to that line item, but
Okay.
that was exactly what you should have done, is told us to think about that.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Nope, we're moving down then. First, unfinished business, we have none. First item is new business. Discussion on to consider approval of the Van Buren Township Community Center Member and Guest Policy Handbook.
Through the chair.
Yes, trustee Kelly.
I move to consider approval of the Van Buren Township Community Center Member and Guest Policy Handbook.
Support.
Okay. All right, go ahead. Directors?
Good evening, Board. The Community Services team has multiple items to present to you this evening for approval that are all related, so Director Renaud and I are kind of tag teaming at the podium tonight. The first one up, as mentioned, being the VBC Member Policy Manual.
Good evening, Board. The Community Services staff team has been diligently working to develop the VBC Member and Guest Policy Handbook for about the last year. This has been a monumental group effort, many site visits, many interviews with other municipal community centers to ensure that we're developing the best policies to keep our new centers safe, accessible, and welcoming to our community. The handbook will be provided to all guests and members of the VBC to ensure that they're well informed about our township's policies and guidelines. The handbook covers general policies such as hours of operations, holiday schedules, membership classifications, facility rental policies, room rules, child watch policies, and more. After we open, there will most likely be a need to do updates to the handbook. We plan on bringing it back to the board for review and approval on an annual basis. I won't bore you with the 27 pages of policies, but we would be happy to answer any questions about them at this time.
I'm going to give you the only controversial thing in this policy is that it actually takes the power away from the board to make policy except for when it comes back for review. The reason being is that we've never done this before, and we can't wait 3 months, 6 months, a year to get policy changes. And I mean, they'd be minor. They'd be things like, we didn't realize that we need to make a policy about wiping down equipment, which we have. And instead of waiting for 2 months while we went through the board system, we'd make that policy, this thing allows us to make that policy change immediately. And then at the annual review, you guys would be yellow line that this was made during the year. The board has the capability at any time, though, to step in and say, no, we didn't like that change, and stop it, because you are the board. You have that power. So I just want to make sure you understand that that is the one thing in here that's a little bit different, because we don't know how to do it otherwise. We'd be stop, go all day.
Through the chair. I guess I would always only ask that when you do make a change, that you notify the board. And then, you know, if it's all right, it's all right. And if there's a big problem, then we can talk about it. But otherwise, it would wait till whenever we reviewed it again.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Sure. Okay. Well, do you want to go over some of the highlights? This thing's got, what, hours of operation in it, things like that?
Mm-hmm.
Could you go through some of those highlights, hours of operation?
Absolutely. So the hours of operation that are proposed, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday 8 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 2 p.m. The holiday hour schedule, it's a little bit different than the township schedule. The main differences being on the holidays, many of the observed dates that the township follows, we're actually following the actual holiday. So for example, Christmas Day is the actual day of Christmas and not the observed day, but they're all listed out. We made sure to include things like Good Friday and the day after Thanksgiving, those Fridays that the township wouldn't be open, but we would be, since we're a 7-day operation. Is there any specific policies that the board would like me to go over?
No, I know that I saw the notes, this from Sherry, I think I saw some from Leon, and I never saw so many yelled it out, marked up manuals. I mean, we really tore through this thing with a vigor, and it's a beautiful document now. It really is. Great.
Very comprehensive.
All right, yeah. Okay, so no other discussion? My pen went out. Trustee Kelly. So I have a
I'm
motion by
sorry,
trustee,
Supervisor.
yes.
Tammy's correcting me. I think I misspoke on the hours. Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 8 to 6, and Sunday, 9 to 2.
Got it.
Thank you. Just want to make sure that's on the record.
Thank you. I have a motion by trustee Kelly, and I have support by trustee Frazier. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, next item, discussion on to consider approval of Van Buren Township Community Center's Employee Manual. Directors? Oh, wait, can I get a motion first?
Through the chair,
Kelly?
I move to consider approval of the Van Buren Township Community Center Employee Manual.
Support.
Okay, I got Boynton over there. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Board. Our team created these additional policies that you have before you to cover items that are specific to the VBC and may be slightly different or not currently covered in the existing Township Employee Policy Handbook, which is why they require board approval. If approved, the additional policies will be incorporated into the existing document for onboarding the new employees. So now, just a little side note, as you may have noticed, Director Renaud and myself are dressed a little more casual for this board meeting. It's not because we're going to kickboxing after this. It's because we have the pleasure of unveiling for you tonight the new VBC staff uniforms. The black pants, polo shirt, and black jacket. Director Renaud is modeling the black polo shirt, and I am wearing the electric blue. The staff will have a choice on colors, or they can get both. As listed in the manual, athletic shoes are required because of our specialty flooring that we have over there. However, glitter tennis shoes are optional. Answer any questions on the employee policies that you have.
We want you to strut around a little.
Teach Elizabeth
I'll let Tammy do that for
how
you.
to take her jacket off.
Hey, very
Hey.
good.
Read this till my eyes.
You flirted me, don't know what to say now.
I have that effect.
All right, does anybody have any questions on this? I mean, I've read this till my eyes bleed, so. Anybody? No? Okay, all right.
Because I haven't read it.
Fair.
All right, so I have a motion by trustee Kelly, supported by trustee Boynton. I have no further discussion, so all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Do we have you again? Okay. Discussion, yeah, thank you, clerk.
I make the motion and, because I'm taking the advice of my fellow trustees here. I haven't read the complete manual, but it looks great from the outside, so. To consider approval of resolution 2024-03, updated 2024 Van Buren Community Center, better known as the BBC fee schedule.
Okay. I've got a motion and support. Directors.
All right, so as part of the 2024 budget process last year, the Board of Trustees approved the original VBC fee schedule. Since then, as we've developed the policy guide, a few proposed updates have been made. We have not touched the membership, which was the piece that was approved by the board, but we did add some additional items. We added fees for Child Watch memberships, an annual, monthly, and drop-in option, in addition to lost key tag fees and facility day pass fees. The other big update that we made was adding the facility rental fees. So we're able to start building out our online system in preparation of our grand opening in June. Many hours of research went into this by our team. The development of the fees, we spent a lot of time looking at surrounding communities. It's really our mission to ensure that our rental spaces are accessible, affordable, and attractive for our community members. So we wanted to make sure that was reflected in the fees. Is there any questions?
I'd just like to say thank you for doing such a thorough job.
The fees are really, really low compared to most of the ones around here, so. Okay. Any further questions? No? All right, I have a motion by Clerk Wright, supported by Trustee Martin. Hearing no further questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you.
Next item, number 4, consider approval of resolution with the DNR.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I move that we approve the resolution 2024-02, Michigan Department of Natural Resources Recreation Passport Grant, Van Buren Park Picnic Table Program of 2025.
Okay, I got right first. Go ahead. Director Locke, could you go ahead?
Good evening, Board. So the Parks Department has been looking at doing a gradual replacement of all the picnic tables in our park pavilions. A lot of the tables have exceeded their normal lifespan. Many of the tables are getting damaged, surfaces are getting rough. For example, the tables at Quirk Park, they're metal tables with a plastic coating. A lot of that coating is starting to wear away. Many of the tables are losing their aesthetic appeal. So this year, we are planning to replace the tables at Quirk Park. I recently obtained a partial grant from MParks Foundation, which will help offset some of the costs for the tables at Quirk. And right now, we are looking at, for next year, replacing the tables at Van Buren Park. I'm currently finishing up a grant application for the 2024 Recreation Passport Grant in the amount of $46,800. This grant money would be used to pay for all the picnic tables at all 3 pavilions. Without the grant, the process for this purchase of the tables would have to be spread over 2 or 3 years, so maybe 1 pavilion at a time. The total cost of the tables is around $63,000. So the remainder of the purchase cost, which would be $16,600, would be paid out of our capital outlay for 2025 as required by the grant program, which has a minimum of a 25% cash match for doing this. In order to be more environmentally conscious, I've researched and found tables that are made from 100% recycled HDPE plastic. This plastic is a lot more durable, lightweight. It's more friendly for cleaning purposes. Nothing will get into the ground. One real nice thing about this product is once it goes past its lifespan, the company will buy back and recycle it. The table is 100% recyclable, as well as being made out of 100% recycled plastic. So it's a very environmentally friendly program. So another thing too is that this will allow us to move some of the older tables that are in decent condition out into the open areas of our park, specifically Van Buren. We have a lot of open spaces there, and during the summer months, especially the weekends when the pavilions are all booked, which a lot of our pavilions are already booked for this year as well, there aren't as many tables available for people who just want to come to the park and enjoy a day to themselves. So this will allow us extra tables to get out into the parks. So right now, we are asking that you approve a resolution to support the program, which is one of the requirements of the grant.
Just one question.
Yeah, clerk.
You mentioned they're lightweight. They're not too light, are they? Won't be blown
No,
away in a
they're-
windstorm.
No, so it's made of a strong bucker structure. It makes it very durable. It's lightweight, but it's real strong. And also another thing I failed to mention, a lot of our tables are just standard designs. So depending on certain people's abilities, where you sit in the table, especially in the middle of the tables, it's hard to get into. These tables are designed for easy access. So it's accessible basically for people of all physical conditions and ages. And along with that, we also will be getting ADA approved tables to go along with the standard tables.
Okay.
this is for, this, so you're asking for a resolution of this board supporting your application for grant?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And this would be for this year or next year?
It would be for next year. The grant would be approved by they approve or award all the grants at the end of the year, so this would be
Okay.
for the year 2025.
All right. Great. I didn't know about this one, so thanks for the surprise. Okay. Any other questions? Kind of pausing, because Boynton made that, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've got a motion by Don Boynton, trustee Boynton, and supported by you? Clerk Wright. Hearing no further questions, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. I paused, but he didn't get back, so. Item number 5, discussion on to consider approval of the selection of VinCon for the Van Buren Park structure demolition. Can I get a motion?
Through the chair,
Trustee Kelly.
move to consider approval of the selection of VinCon Incorporated for the Van Buren Park structure demolition project for $22,800.
Support.
Director Locke.
All right, thank you again. So we are looking to do a demolition of several structures at Van Buren Park. This includes remnants of an old trash bin that is behind the park's maintenance service garage. There's a former concession building that is in the pavilion section of the park that has no longer been in use and is basically a home now for mice. There's a former storage garage also in that same pavilion section that is completely run down and is unusable. It is now a home for animals as well. We have a former electrical service panel that was along our saddle roadway. The power was removed from all that, so it's just a small structure that's being removed out. In the back section near the beach house, there's a foundation of what was, I was told, the former camp that used to be there was a shower facility. So what's remaining there is a large cement base leading to a drainage area for the showers. Also in the back area in that same section by the bathrooms and leading to the beach house area are around 95 to 100 in-ground poles. They range anywhere from coming out maybe a foot out of the ground to 2 or 3 feet. They're sort of staggered. It was part of the old campground designated along the roadway there. So a lot of these structures are a safety concern, out of date. The animals are getting into things. So removal of these structures will not only provide a safer area, but will also open up space in the park and allow for future development. So on February 13th of this year, an RFP was issued requesting bids for the project. On March 5th, we opened bids from 13 different contractors. These bids range from anywhere from $19,750 up to $79,400. The low bid for this project was rejected due to the contractor's inexperience in demolition work. So we are moved to the next bid and are recommending that you approve the VinCon with a contract in the amount of $22,800. VinCon Incorporated provided an impressive list of references for prior demolition work on several of the communities around here. We have Vincent Howard here from VinCon, and he's available if anyone on the board has any questions.
You're gonna take everything off the site, right?
I say go for it.
Everything would be demolished, and then ground will be leveled. There's going to be, and then in the areas that require it, they'll be reseeded too. So everything.
I'll ask a question, but you sound like you have one first. Do you have one?
No, I say go for it.
Okay, so the area behind that garage, I'm looking at, no, that's not gonna be done. They're still gonna have a slab back there that overlooks the old dock area. That's going out too? Okay. All right, okay. Because there was some, that's where people were dumping old debris.
Yeah, the only thing behind this, behind, you mean talking about behind the service garage?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah, there's an area I didn't even know existed until I kind of got lost
The
one time.
the two now off-road ramps, yeah,
Yes.
that is not part of this project.
That is not?
No.
Okay, all right. Are we looking at it? All right. Okay, all right. I'm sorry, does anybody have any questions? Sorry. I thought we were getting all that. All right. All right, I have a motion by, who was it by?
Kelly,
Who? Oh, Kelly? And supported by who?
me.
Bud, okay. My pen died, so. Hearing no further questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next item is, thank you. Next item is discussion and to consider approval of William Minor's personal service agreement. Director,
Through the chair.
yes, thank you. Go ahead, clerk.
I'd like to make the motion to consider approval of William Minor personal service agreement for the position of superintendent of water and sewer and authorize the supervisor McNamara and clerk Wright to execute the agreement.
Support.
Okay, Boynton. All
Good
right.
evening, Board. Tonight, I would like to introduce you to William. He prefers to go by Bill Minor. This is the candidate that was finally chosen to fill the vacancy for the Superintendent of Water and Sewer. He recently retired from Allen Park a few weeks ago as the Deputy Director, a title that he strived diligently up the ranks to receive, and he left there with 25 years. Leading comes naturally to him as he served in the U.S. Marine Corps as a corporal for 4 years, correct? Okay. All right, so he knows from experience when you work in the field side by side with your team, you understand what it takes to get the job done. He feels he has a lot more to give, so he's not really ready to retire. His skills and abilities in leadership also comes with other professional experience, such as problem solving, excellent communication, and fantastic management. He holds an S3 certification, belongs to several associations, and has contacts that will follow him and lend a hand no matter where he is employed. With that, I ask for the board to approve William Minor's personal service agreement, and I will take any questions that you may have at this time.
Any questions?
Through the chair, I think I did ask, and I think I got it answered, but he will eventually get his S1.
Yes,
Is that his plan?
yes, it is.
Thank you.
You want to say anything?
No, the whole team seems to be really happy that you're coming on board. I'm glad you're coming with us. Thank you.
I hope you know what you're getting into.
Okay, I have a motion by Clerk Wright, supported by Trustee Boynton. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
I'd like to go up and
Should you
shake
come up and shake each of our hands and just give us one shot?
Thank you very much.
Welcome aboard. Thank you. All right, congratulations.
Welcome aboard, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item, number 7, discussion on to consider approval of agreement between Van Buren Township and the Michigan State Housing Development Authority. Mr. Martin.
Make
Trustee.
a motion to consider approval of an agreement between Van Buren Township and the Michigan State Housing Development Authority for the award of a housing readiness incentive grant.
Support.
Director Akers.
Good evening, Board. In January 2024, the state initiated a grant program called the Housing Readiness Incentive Program. This grant's stated purpose was to help communities implement actions that encouraged increased housing supply and affordability. In January, the township submitted a proposal to update our master plan by furthering our existing goal of encouraging missing middle housing types. The scope of work under this grant will include an analysis of our existing housing inventory, a market study to determine what housing needs are in the township, and to have recommendations provided and zoning language drafted to accomplish those recommendations. The grant was formally awarded in February, and we were provided with a draft agreement to accept the grant. The total of the award is $45,000, with the township providing a $5,000 match. We are currently in contact with McKenna and Associates, and we'll be bringing a proposal to complete the scope of work when it is available. And this agreement was also reviewed by our township attorney and was found to be acceptable. So thank you, board, for your consideration of this request, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Through the chair.
Trustee Martin?
I'd just like to say I'm happy to see we get this mission grant for housing incentives. As you may or may not know, housing is a problem not only throughout Michigan, the lack of affordable housing, not only in Michigan, but throughout the country. And I think that getting this grant will allow us to pursue ways to remedy this problem and to bring what I call the missing middle housing to Van Buren Township. So I appreciate this grant, and I hope that there's a lot of other federal money available too, so I hope that we pursue other grants.
This study will not only help us identify those problems, it'll help us to, as a framework, basically, we need to do this data to go get more money. Okay. Any other questions? All right, hearing no further questions, I have a motion by trustee Martin. It's been supported by trustee Boynton. No further questions. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next item is discussion and to consider approval of a donation of a right-of-way to Wayne County for the Denton Bridge.
Through the chair. I move that we approve of the donation of a right-of-way to Wayne County for the Denton Road Bridge project.
Support.
Okay. Director Akers.
Thank you. So with the Denton Road Bridge project, we are in the stage of the project. We are working with the various utilities that are located on the bridge to design and complete their necessary work. One concern that has been identified is the limited right-of-way area available for some of the utilities in the area to the north and south of the Denton Road Bridge. So there are two utilities that are located on the bridge. There is a DTE-owned 3-inch high-pressure gas main. There's also an AT&T fiber line. Both utilities have indicated their plans to bore new lines underneath the lake, with DTE boring a gas main on the north side and AT&T boring a new fiber line on the south side. There is concern that there will not be sufficient right-of-way to provide enough clearance between the two new utility lines and the cofferdams needed for the piers to be, the concrete piers to be poured when the bridge is under construction. In order to allow for more space, we are proposing to dedicate an additional 10 feet of right-of-way on both sides of the bridge to Wayne County. Van Buren Township owns the bottom land on either side of the bridge, and due to this, we have the ability to dedicate the additional area required for the utilities. Both utility lines are proposed to be directionally bored underneath the lake and would not have any significant impacts for this area. Both utilities will be subject to Eagle permitting and environmental review if they are within 10 feet of the bottom of the lake bed. This area would be dedicated as Wayne County road right-of-way, and due to this, the utilities would be legally able to be installed there. In the review of the Denton Road Bridge project, which we did receive an Eagle permit a few weeks ago, Eagle had indicated that the roadway would be unable to occupy any additional bottomland area of Belleville Lake. Due to this, it would be very unlikely that the road or the area of the roadway would be able to be expanded in the future and occupy those areas of the lake. Thank you for your consideration of this request, and I am available to answer any more questions.
Any questions on this right-of-way? No? Okay. So because it has to be done, give us, I know we have new updates, because I've got some in the email today, so go ahead.
So,
give an update on the Denton Road Bridge, please.
So the township has formally submitted the drawings of the Denton Road Bridge to Wayne County today. Those were sent over. There's going to be a period of time where the county has to review it, and if there's any adjustments that need to be made, they'll ask us to make them, but that's planned in. So our obligation with regards to that has been met. We've successfully designed a bridge and submitted it to Wayne County.
And got all the permits.
All the permits. So at the stage that we're at right now, in addition to the design documents, we are preparing bridge renderings, and we should have them within a week or so. And at the time that we receive them, we'll make sure that they're sent out to everybody and available publicly. So we're working with the two utility companies to design and implement their projects. We do not have a definitive timeline from either utility company as of yet. They're still working through their preliminary design proceedings for how they're going to bore under the lake and what permitting they're going to need to require and what they're actually able to do. But we have had correspondence with AT&T, who has told us that they will be able to accomplish their portion of the project by July of this year. And we're meeting with DTE every 2 weeks to address their project, and hopefully we'll be getting a more detailed update on what their timeline is soon. So in those meetings with DTE, it's representatives of the township, Wayne County. We have the city manager for the city of Belleville participates. DTE's contractor, Wade Trim, who's doing the design work. So we're meeting every 2 weeks, making sure we stay on top of everything to make sure that things move forward. As far as scheduling is concerned, as I had said, DTE hasn't given us a specific schedule as of yet. They have told us that they anticipate that the directional boring of the gas main will start sometime mid-late summer and should complete by the end of this year. So when we have and I'm hoping, because we're meeting with them tomorrow morning, I'm hoping that I get some more information. But when we receive a specific timeline from DTE, we'll release it, and then we should have more information on how everything will tie together. But as of right now, we're trying to continue to work with DTE to nail down specifics. But we have satisfied all of our obligations with regards to environmental permitting and design. We actually beat some of the original projections that we said we were going to do in February of last year. I think we originally targeted I think it was April 1st or May 1st. We submitted everything beforehand and got that addressed. But that's currently where we're at as far as the bridge project.
And I have to add that every 2 weeks, we've met with Wayne County, and they know everything intimately that's gone on with this. They've given their weekly updates on what they want changed and what they want added. So although they do have to do a review of the project, this review could be the shortest review in history, because they've been every 2 weeks going along, seeing exactly what we're doing, making recommendations and such like that.
I will say Ali Al-Jawad, who's in charge of bridge engineering for the county, has been fantastic. I've talked to him on the phone more times than I've talked to a lot of people over the last couple of weeks. He's always answered calls from our bridge engineer in Fishbeck to help us with questions. They've really been working with us every step of the way. They've been fantastic.
Yeah, it's been great. Good. Okay. So we have a right-of-way for Wayne County for the Den Road Bridge, and we have no further questions, correct? All right, no further questions. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item, number 9, discussion to consider approval of a preliminary plan and special land use approval for Cobblestone Creek's planned residential development.
Through the chair.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to consider approval of preliminary plan and special land use approval for a revision to the Cobblestone Creek Plan Residential Development, PRD, by David Schwab of M/I Homes of Michigan, LLC.
Support.
Okay. Director, could you go through this? And then at the end, I wouldn't mind Mr. Akers and you both standing up and addressing the drain issue that was just approved by Wayne County.
Certainly. Thank you, Board. The request before you tonight is pertaining to a modification to what's called a Plan Residential Development Agreement and a Plan Residential Development Plan, or PRD agreement and PRD plan for the Cobblestone Creek project, which is a 154 detached unit and I forget the exact number of attached unit, but it's a combined residential project on the east side of Hoft Road, south of West Yarn River Drive, in the southwest corner of the township, that was first approved in 2005. The request before you tonight involves the introduction of a new builder, MI Homes of Michigan LLC. We have David Straub representing that company here tonight, who can also answer any questions. But what's before you tonight is basically an effort to finish up the construction of the detached single-family homes on lots that were approved years ago for that project area. One of our zoning ordinance requirements that was in place in 2005 and has been recently modified is that with a project that's developed in this manner as a site condominium, there's a requirement that 30% of the units have side entry or rear entry oriented garage doors. The intention with that being kind of an aesthetic purpose to make sure that there's not a wall of homes that have those intrusive garage doors on a street frontage. And what you have here is that the bulk of the project, the 154 units, have already been constructed primarily by Boji builders. And what we're seeing is that there's been a wide variety of units, but there would have to be a concentration of side and rear entry garage doors in the units that are remaining in phase 3 here, which is 69 remaining home sites. And so the request by Mr. Straub is to take that set of the homes and get close to that 30% side entry requirement with what's left. But it would leave a gap in the overall project number because there was a deficiency in the phase 1 portion in terms of side entry garages. Mr. Straub has proposed a variety of home sites that meet a variety of architectural requirements. There's a lot of architectural variety, different features on all the home models that have been proposed, and these models have been extensively reviewed by our Planning Commission, as Treasurer Budd can attest. And there are a number of things that stand out with these models that will distinguish them from each other, provide some architectural interest, and make up for some of the intention that was there with the zoning ordinance that was in place years ago with a 30% garage door requirement, while still having 21 of the 69 remaining units be side entry garage doors. And so what this all goes back to is that the entire project was approved under an original PRD agreement and plan. And to modify a PRD agreement, there's a two-step process, both with you on the board and with the Planning Commission. There first has to be a recommendation for a special land use approval to modify or to propose a new project of this nature. And that's the request before you tonight, is the special approval of the modified PRD project. At a later date, this plan, if approved tonight, will go back to the Planning Commission for an additional recommendation on a final version of the modified PRD agreement and the modified PRD plan. And we'll come back for another vote at a later date after we've gone through additional Planning Commission review and review by the township attorney. The Planning Commission had a public hearing on this on February 28th and did recommend conditional approval of the special approval. And the action before you again is that special approval. If you'd like, I can also address Mr. Cherry's comments at this time, or we can wait until, if you want to go back to the drain comment after you've.
I think we need to address it.
So, yeah, I did want to pull up a map. So, and I've been a little bit involved with this, and I know that Director Akers has stayed involved as well. But this is a portion of the township where there are some drain issues that have occurred with the Jewett drain, which is a drain right here. So here's Huron River Drive. We're on the west end of the south portion of the township here. Hoft Road. This drain is the Jewett Drain. It feeds into the Throop Drain, which then empties into the Huron River. There have been instances, as with other drains in the area, with related flooding and high water tables and or high drain issues. Because of those, this has gone before Wayne County's drain office for consideration for an assessment for the drain. There was a hearing at the end of February. Was that a Board of Determination hearing? So a Board of Determination hearing was held at the Wayne County Community College District at the Ted Scott campus. And what would happen is that this assessment that could occur would affect not just the Cobblestone Creek project here, but Cobblestone Ridge, Pine Forest, the timbers over here off of Elwell Road, potentially. There's a lot of land in this area, all of which the properties within that district could be affected. And there's a calculation that may come into play with the county to apply improvements over that drainage district to improve the situation for all the property owners. And I don't think we have a calculation from the county at this point on the exact cost, but that is something that is being worked on the side with the county right now. So certainly related to this project, but it's not of course, the request before the board tonight. I don't know if you have anything to add.
So the board of the drain commission process to clean out the county drain. So the residents who live within a certain drainage district have to file a petition. They filed the petition that because of that, the county looked at that stretch of the drain. They did that board determination. The whole point of the board determination is to ultimately determine if they need to do a project to make sure that the drain operates efficiently or not. At that meeting, they did determine that the board, that a project was needed to clean the drain out. So they're moving forward with doing a design, and then there's a process that they have to follow through the drain code to be able to implement it. They did say that the project was not going to occur this year, and they were unable to provide a timeline for when that drain clean out was going to occur. So just as how the process operates. Sorry.
Unable to provide a time?
They did not provide a timeline, no. So they would have to design the project and bid it out. And I know, at least with Wayne County, there are a number of other petition projects all around the county that still need to get accomplished as well. So I'm not sure when they would be doing that.
Good. Yeah. Okay, so I have no problem making the proposal to pass this resolution for the special preliminary plan and special land use, because I knew I had to go back to the planning commission and back to us again, but I would like to see the problem resolved when it come back, when it do arrive back to us. I think it's important, I want to see that subdivision completed, but we want to make sure it's completed correctly, because I know the issues you can have if you have your retention pond is not operating correctly. As we all know, I'm the president of my association, and the retention pond is very vital to the upkeep or the flooding of each home in that area. So I would agree with the homeowner that is an important piece of getting this piece corrected and passed when it come back, because that's something, we don't want to see that. We don't want to see flooding to that magnitude in that area. And I know if the retention ponds are not working correctly, it will happen.
Through the chair.
Trustee Martin?
I have two questions. First question is, what is the detention pond plan for that development, and is the completion of this development contingent on getting those drains cleaned out? So what will happen in the interim if these homes are built and we get a heavy rain, and then what's the plan?
First one.
May I, if I can, through the chair, tag along with Trustee Martin. I am somewhat familiar with the drainage issue on the south side there from Cobblestone Creek and Mission Point, heading all the way east over to the Huron River, up into Lower Huron Park. So that encompasses, like I said, Mission Point, Cobblestone Creek, the timbers, the business through downtown Belleville, um, Victoria Park, Arlene Arbors, Country Walk, Country Pond, Wild Brook, and the other homeowners down along in that area there. In Country Walk, I can say, I've been beating the drum constantly as far as making sure that all of our owned groundwater areas are as clean as possible as they're heading out of our areas into the county drains. We all know and understand that the county is somewhat behind, I will say, in making sure that their drains are cleared out. But I do know, and I have had them say that they're not going to do too much until we know that ours are cleared out as well. The detention ponds are very, very important. We need to make sure that they are cleared out, but then to also, even though if a subdivision is a little slow in being completed, the detention ponds are created at a depth to be able to handle whatever homes are designed to go in there. So if it's designed with 500 homes and only 250 have been built, the pond is still designed to hold the amount of homes that is designed to go into that area, whether they're there now or not. Again, I do know that the current weather patterns we've seen, that doesn't seem like it's actually what's happening, but that is the way that they're designed. But we do need to make sure that we have all of our detention ponds taken care of in the meantime while this goes before the county and the county does their study. They see that all the subdivisions are working in one accord in making sure that their areas are cleared, and then they will have no other recourse other than to say, okay, all of these subdivisions have all this stuff cleared out. We have documentation saying that all this stuff is cleared out. We have to clear out our areas. If I haven't trampled too much on what you said,
Let's go back to Trustee Martin.
I'm in full support of what you're saying. I do. I'm in full support of what you're saying.
Trustee Martin, could you re-ask the question, though?
The question was, are the detention ponds that are currently going to be used, are they adequate enough? And are building these homes contingent on the drains being cleaned out by the county? And also, I'm gonna add a third thing to that while I'm thinking about it. When they do the final grade on these properties, that maybe they should take special consideration and to make sure that it flows away from the homes that they're building to eliminate those having problems, and then the county can address their drain issues then. But I think that the final grade on these properties would have a lot to do with, whether they flood or not.
So there's two elements to the stormwater story, I guess, with this property. There's the drain, and then there's the internal stormwater system that Trustee Boynton was referencing. So Director Lawrence has been in communication, and I have been as well, with the homeowners association, talking with them about different ways that you can get your stormwater, not just your detention pond, but also the pipes in your development and the manhole structures and catch basins evaluated and maintained. The subdivisions was installed about 20 years ago, or a little over 20 years ago. So because of that, there may be some maintenance aspects that need to be accomplished on the subdivisions, and that's not something that I know. But as it was indicated, you know, that could be an element of this, and it's something that needs to be reviewed by the homeowners association, the entity who's reviewed by it. So we've already started having having those conversations with them. Actually, it was members of the homeowners association board that filed the petition with the county for the Druitt Drain project. So, so that's one element that I know we're actively discussing with them right now. Did I answer all of your questions? I know the one question with the house, I know the building department, when you install a new house, you're required to slope the water away from the foundation, so that's always checked. They always give us a final grade certificate whenever they get a C of O for a house. They get a certificate from a surveyor that says, you know, the lot's been graded properly. So those are things that we check for. And I apologize. Did I answer the second
I think
question?
there was one more.
The part was, were the building of them contingent on the drain issue being resolved? Or are they gonna go ahead with
And I think, Dan, you can answer that.
Yeah, I can answer that. So, I kind of want to zoom out. This is kind of a slow-moving, ongoing project, which I think Trustee Boynton referred to. Some of these projects have taken a while to complete, and this is no exception. But this project has had building permits kind of incrementally pulled and has been built out gradually over the series of the past 20 years. It is kind of an ongoing construction project. The primary builder changed hands, but the reason for saying that is the reason that this came before the Planning Commission and is before the Board of Trustees is more of a layout and architectural issue, more so than an engineering and capacity issue, because it really pertains to the requirement that the number of side entry oriented garages and proposing an alternate to having that minimum number of side entry oriented garages. So the reason the request is being funneled through our Planning Commission and Board is kind of that architectural issue. So that being said, it's kind of an ongoing project otherwise that relies on the original capacity of the ponds that were proposed years ago. These ponds were designed in 2005 to accommodate the anticipated drainage provided by the roofs and the paved surfaces in the project site. So it's relying on that original design. And so it's got longstanding county permits for the stormwater system and things that it is meant to be continuing to be built on that this approval really won't affect. But that being said, I know that these drain issues were something that the previous builder, and I believe Mr. Straub, have been closely paying attention to. I know that when these sites were mass graded recently, and they were, in some cases, the elevation of the sites themselves was raised to accommodate the fact that there is a higher water table and there's a need to provide more positive drainage away from the building sites. So there are some design items that are being addressed to promote that positive drainage and make sure the sites have stormwater that drains away appropriately. Otherwise, however, it is kind of a long-running approval based on the original design of the project.
All right, thank you.
I have questions based on Trustee Martin's questions. So the design was approved 20 years ago. It hasn't had to go back for reapproval?
No.
And since then, we have the homeowners association that is petitioning the county to put a tax on the homeowners association to clear their drains. So what's wrong? Why is the homeowners association asking for the drain to be cleaned out? Obviously, they're getting flooded, right?
Yeah, so there's kind of a outside the project element where there's probably more systemic drain cleanout that has to happen in the Jewett drain outside of the project boundary. That's affecting the upstream and the ability for the site's detention basins to drain out properly. That being said, there may also be issues inside of the development, but I think the primary issue is the overall obstructions in the Jewett drain.
So we don't, Maybe I should ask the developer, is this a new section? Or are we talking about the old section that's screwed up and causing it? Because, I mean, I've seen multiple retention ponds.
Right, so, and I believe the drainage broadly, these areas discharge to this basin, there's discharge to this basin, and then this basin, and then here's the Jewett drain on the south end.
And which basin is the one that's not draining?
I don't know if there's a specific one of those three ponds that has more issues than the other, but
If I may, I think what Dan is referring to is that the 3 retention ponds that are in the photograph, those are, if it's to set up the same way, those are maintained and possibly owned by the HOA.
Yeah, so why are the HOA saying these things aren't draining?
No, hold on. I'm not done yet. Those 3 ponds are owned by the HOA. The HOA has responsibility for those. The Jewett drain is the county drain. So the HOA's ponds are draining into the county drain. The county drain is where the question lies. So the
But the
HOA.
question, okay, but the HOA,
is requesting to Wayne County for Wayne County to clear out their drain,
and
not
you know what
the-
Wayne County does then? Wayne
Not-
County tracks the amount of money that it costs to clean out the drains and then charges it back to the residents, which would be Mr. Cherry's group and the HOA. They're the ones that are gonna pay for the Jewett drain to be cleaned out.
Now, how is that? Because over where we are.
No,
we-
same with you too.
We've told them, our drains are clear. The pipes underneath our streets are clear.
Your responsibility.
That's going into, okay, so, and it goes from there into the county drain.
Which is your responsibility also?
How?
Because look on your tax bill, I bet you've been getting taxed and you didn't even know it. I guarantee you there's a tax on there that says a drain.
They haven't
Wayne
done
County drain.
anything.
I guarantee it.
It's always been on the tax bill. Yeah. Drains has always been on there.
I know,
since
so
the days-
so
since the end of
they're
time.
charging you for it.
Well,
Yeah, but
they're not charging you per specific, sorry, through the chair. They're not charging you per specific cleaning for a particular drain. It's a countywide tax
No.
on all the drain systems. Because our subdivision, we had to petition the county to have our, part of the McClory drain cleaned because our pond wouldn't drain.
So I won't answer it. I'll have director answer it, but I know that that's wrong. You paid for that. You paid for it and I didn't. It was on your tax bill, but not mine.
So the county, the county is broken up into a series of drainage districts, and the drain code has certain limitations to how much money per linear mile of drain the county is able to charge to those drainage districts. There's 2 ways where that amount of money can be exceeded. Either the municipality can pass a resolution, or all the municipalities who are on a particular drain can pass a resolution authorizing the county to exceed it to a certain spending amount, or the individual property owners within that district can file a petition with the county to do a special project which would exceed
Your
that.
HOA or this HOA did.
So certain I'm not sure who did it, but I understand members of the Cobblestone Creek HOA had filed a petition with the county to determine if a project was needed along that stretch, which would exceed that amount of money. And the board of determination found that it did because of the condition of the
Who
drain.
paid for it? That's what he wants to know, is who paid for it? He thinks it got paid by Wayne County residents across the board. It
No,
didn't.
it pays for, it gets paid by the property owners within that drainage district, and then also a chunk of it gets paid by the township as well.
Yeah. So that's what this is what Mr. Cherry's concerned about. Is are we building, I should ask you, does anybody consider the retention ponds? You approved the building of these buildings, and they're beautiful, but do we consider the retention ponds at that time at all?
sure we do. I mean, we always look at what the retention ponds are gonna do and how they're gonna handle the water for that area.
So when the development is initially installed, the detention ponds are designed and intended to be sized to whatever the standard was at the time. So in
But my
2000.
point is that HOA is saying that they're not working, and they're asking Wayne County, knowing that they're gonna get it on their taxes, to clean out the drains. And now we're expanding the runoff points.
Well, through the chair, versus paying for it or versus having their property flood, I think that's something that they probably need to do. I don't know how much they charge or what the rate is, but something has to be done because a lot of these subdivisions, their ponds don't drain adequately. I know the one in mine doesn't drain adequately.
So through the board, if I may try to shed some light on some of that. There could be two different sets of issues. There could be improperly maintained or improperly drained ponds or ponds that are not sized adequately, which would be a design issue regarding the ponds. Or there could be a more downstream issue of the overall drain network where the obstructions downstream, these ponds are all eventually making their way to the Jewett drain. If there's a series of obstructions downstream, these could be perfectly holding the capacity of all the water that's generated during a rain event and draining the sites away, but they could be backed up because of something happening downstream.
I was just gonna say, you can easily determine that. When it rains, when you get a substantial rain, if they're holding water, then you got a problem down the drain.
Well, and with,
It depends on kind of, on what kind of.
If it's,
ponds they
if
are.
it's a detention pond,
If they're detention ponds, then
it's,
if it's a detention pond, then
It should be-
depends on how the water evaporates out. If it's a retention pond drains.
oh,
Get more information.
no, detention.
Pond will hold the water and then drain out eventually. But a detention pond is designed to hold the water
Right,
longer.
right.
And the water goes out of it through evaporation.
No, I think it's Wayne County.
I know.
Never cleaned the
I only know that.
Which one is it?
We see, I only know that because Country Walk has both types of pond in one,
But you're gonna be.
which is crazy.
Retains the water. Detention.
Not if they were built according to the engineering standards.
They hose the water until it drains out.
Mhm. Mhm.
But if it
I've
don't
had enough
drain out,
questions
you got
that
a problem.
I don't want this to go away. I really want you to build here, but I've got residents, and it makes it really, I have a difficult problem with local people saying that they're flooding now and asking the county to expand the drain, and then we're building. Are we building on a new retention system, or is this an old retention system that we're tying into?
It's an old retention system that we're tying into, but I'm not sure that the problem is the retention system itself.
Or the Jewett drain?
I think we're asking for the drain to be cleaned, not the detention, because it's for that whole area. It's everybody up and down Elwell Road
Right.
that,
But if this
That-
guy builds another 100 homes, and that's 100
Yeah, but-
homes that are, one, gonna probably flood out until the Jewett drain's cleaned out, or two, are gonna flood out the other houses, because you're gonna have more drainage now coming off those roofs and concrete areas.
well, technically, that shouldn't happen, because when the subdivision was determined, our engineers approved the plan, because we have specifications as to how much land someone that's built homes can release into a system. The problem comes, Wayne County hasn't cleaned their drains for years. And people are paying for drains that have never been cleaned.
Right.
So do you wanna keep on building on that drain?
It's not their system that's wrong. It's the county's. We have to get county out there and get their drains cleaned. It's not the guy that's got the property. That's not his problem. He has built to what our engineers and Wayne County has approved.
Right.
Because it is approved by the county, it's approved by us. Fortunately, the county has not held up their end and kept their drains cleaned.
Through the chair, I think,
And that's happening all over the township because
Exactly.
their drains are not clean.
Exactly.
Trustee Martin?
I think the scope of this motion doesn't address that, and it's just to approve a special land use. I don't, we had the discussion because it was raised by a resident.
Right.
But I think the scope of our motion that we are voting on is to approve the special land use, revisions to the PRD.
Right. That's what, if I may speak, that's
the
why I
only thing
said,
that's on the table.
that's why I made the motion to approve this, because it's not the final approval. I would like I said, when it comes back, I'd like to see some results on how we're gonna rectify the problem. I think that, I agree with Treasurer Bud, it's not our problem. I think the pond's probably drained, and I think it's a drain problem, so it sounds like we need to put additional pressure on Wayne County to clean the drains. Otherwise, we're gonna continue to have the problem.
We have two residents that have been really wanting to talk and have been nice, and quite frankly, come on up. I know you guys represent a lot of people over there.
Okay, you guys don't know my background. Some of you do. I built the boardroom. I work for a contractor. I worked for 7 different contractors in the state of Michigan, and I built retention ponds. I built subdivisions for Bittagary, for Compo Brothers, for Davenport Brothers. Okay, I know the formula. Every acre of land there, when for 1 inch of rain, is 27,185 gallons of water. 1 inch of rain per acre. You got 114 acres right here. Okay, these ponds are supposed to hold that amount of water for it to hold, not flood, but to hold. And the maximum orifice that they can put into the Jewett drain is 6 inches, a 6-inch diameter. You can put a 47-foot pipe down the middle of it, but the most you can dump in that Jewett drain is through a 6-inch orifice per state law. Okay? So if their neighborhood is flooding, it has nothing to do with the Jewett drain. The Jewett drain is supposed to collect what water comes out of the retention ponds and comes off of my farmland. Okay? Not a housing section over on a whole nother road that they're dumping the water in my neighborhood. Thank you.
Hey, you know what? You're right. I've got that problem in other ones. I've got other subdivisions flooding out, and it is all because of the little drain.
But through the chair.
Yes,
If
sir.
the drain is working and the water's flowing, that water's gonna move and it's gonna drain.
Yeah, it's just,
Eventually, it's gonna drain. It's not gonna, it shouldn't take
it'll
it.
drain, but it'll,
It shouldn't take it 2 or 3 weeks to drain either.
okay.
I don't.
That
that's-
changes my, okay, all right.
Again, the scope of our motion doesn't have anything
so-
to do with the ponds or the drainage.
You're a wise man. We are voting on a planned residential development adjustment approval, special land use, which doesn't have anything to do with that, you're right.
One question was not answered, I'm sorry to interrupt. The one question he asked first was, does this development depend on the drain being cleaned out? So if this project takes 10 years to get the drain cleaned out, are you gonna go ahead and build all these other houses in the meantime? Yes. And where is that water going?
With 6-inch pipes, we could build everything out with 6-inch pipes, because you can't drain, it won't drain that fast, will it? I mean, the neighborhoods, the concern's gonna be the neighborhood. And the engineers say they've got to deepen, are you with them? I don't. Okay. And the engineers say that this has been approved by Wayne County and our engineers. All right, I'm actually ready to vote now for it. All right, does anybody have any other discussion? All right, I've got a motion. We have no further discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, I get it now, sorry. Next item is reports. We have none. Next item after that is public comment for non-agenda items. Anybody from the public that wishes to speak? No? Any board comments for non-agenda items? I do have one. Our seniors went somewhere to take on a trivia battle against our northern neighbors from, I think, Northfield and Plymouth and Canton. Am I right? Westland? Okay. And they won. So they won the trivia battle. Yes, that's huge, and they're all very proud. And the winning answer was Peter Parker, what newspaper did he work for?
The Daily Bugle.
Did you know that?
I did not know it. I heard
Oh.
them when they said that's what they went by.
Okay. That's all I have. Anybody else? Can I get a motion for adjournment? So moved. Moved, supported, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Can you dig deeper? Can you make that retention pond a little bigger? There's only one subdivision in our community that never, ever floods. It's his. He's got the two biggest retention ponds that God ever put on earth. Oh, yours comes right up to those back doors.
Doesn't flood?
Country walk.
Because we made sure it was big enough not to flood. Remember that?
It's come close.
And also they cut all new ditches
They
for
was,
you.
they built Andover Farm, and it wasn't big enough to hold the capacity of the association that was building behind.